Citizens' public comment rules. We have a proposal of rules in front of us that was tabled at the last meeting, but Denise and John get together, John Restivo. My understanding that John Restivo penned these, is that correct?
Yes.
John, do you want to read these or present these to the council?
Sure. So, I guess the first rule or the first change would be the title of concerned citizens. This period of meeting would be called public comment. I have the opinion that concerned citizens have a somewhat negative connotation. If anyone wanted to speak to tell us how great a job they thought we were doing, we certainly didn't want to foreclose that possibility. So, public comment, rules and regulations, I'll just read them aloud. Meetings of the town council are open to the public. Any resident who wishes to address the council on any subject within the scope of the council's authority may do so, provided it is accomplished in an orderly manner in accordance with the procedures outlined below. Number one, in no event may the public comment period of the meeting be used to address the performance, character, or physical or mental health of a town employee, appointee, contractor, or board member. Any matters pertaining to an individual performing services for the town ought to be discussed in executive session. Members of the public do not generally have the right to take part in such discussions. Please let individual council members know privately if you feel as though the council needs to consider an individual's job performance, character, or health, so that the council can properly notify the affected individual if the council determines to take up the matter at a future meeting. This rule will be strictly enforced. If you would like to speak during the public comment period, you must sign in prior to the beginning of the meeting on the sheet provided. You may speak for a maximum of 2 minutes, and the entire public comment period of the meeting shall not exceed 15 minutes unless the council unanimously votes to extend it. Only one person may speak at a time, and each speaker may only speak once. You must address the council from your seat in the audience and may not physically approach the council. A microphone may be provided if necessary. Comments are to be directed at the council exclusively and not other individuals in attendance at the meeting. The use of profanity, slurs, or denigrating remarks is prohibited. The public comment period may be stopped at any time by the council president if any individual becomes disorderly and/or violates these rules. Further, any individual causing a disruption may be asked to leave the meeting. Please note that town council members will not respond to questions during the public comment period. Section 42-46-6 of the Open Meetings Act specifically prohibits the town council from considering previously unposted matters during the public comment section of the agenda, except for informational purposes only. State law prohibits the town council from acting or voting upon any such matter except under emergency circumstances.
Okay, well, this has been off the agenda for a couple of years. We haven't had this because there was some problems with it. I would be willing to entertain putting this on the agenda, using these rules for a trial period of, say, 2 months, and see how it panned out, see how it operates, and then deal with it. And,
I'd like to add on the minutes that we adopted a meeting from December 11th. I don't think we can do it on a time period here because we've already accepted. John Restivo moved, Gordon Rogers seconded to add concerned citizens as a standing agenda item with the rules to be determined by the council at a later date. So we've already approved council concerned citizens to be on. This is simply approving how we're going to operate with rules. So once that's done, I think we'll have to take a vote to take it off.
Okay, so I will make a motion in light of that to adopt Mr. Restivo's rules with the amendment that with the amended rule added, that these be put into place for a 2-month trial period. That's my motion.
No,
I'll second that.
excuse me, Mr. Steve, you're an attorney, and a motion has already passed,
Yes.
and I don't know if you can add an amendment to a motion after it's already passed after a period of time. You may know better than I. And I think the motion is passed without an amendment, and so that's the standing motion. The idea of amending it after.
We're not amending it, Mr. Savasio. The motion that was made and passed was to add it with rules that
Right.
were adopted by this council.
Right.
No, it was to add, it was to approve concerned citizens as a standing agenda item. Now, boom, it's on, with the rules to be determined by the council at a later date. So concerned citizens is
So
on.
you're trying
There's
to
no
add a
period
rule.
there, it's not two separate sentences.
Mr. Lewis, you're trying to add a rule to Mr. Restivo's rules. Not make an amendment to the motion.
That's correct,
Okay.
that's correct. I'm adding an additional rule to this that
Right.
says.
You're
this-
trying to.
That's my motion.
Thank you.
That this will be adopted, this set of rules will be adopted with a rule that says this is adopted for 2 months.
That's not a rule. That's an amendment to the motion.
That's
A
an
rule
additional,
is,
an additional rule.
a rule would be another action of the person or council concerning the concerned citizen.
I am gonna be voting against this amendment because it's just trying to undo what we've already worked hard to get on, and it just further delays this as time goes on. In my opinion, it's already been approved, concerned citizens on. These rules are standing, all we need to do is vote on the rules, and then it's done.
You made that a motion?
I made the motion,
I'll second.
and Mr. Restivo seconded it,
Oh,
so,
okay.
so it's,
May I just ask, you are saying for 2-month period, what's going to be your criteria for measurement
Exactly.
as to whether it's successful or not? And is this an objective measurement?
it's going to be up to the council to determine at the end.
It's then 3 guys against you, forget it. In 2 months, it's done.
You
So
know,
there's no
my general opinion is
Yes,
that
I know
this
what your
is
general
fraught with a minefield and potholes, and that I'm not really inclined to do it at all. However, deferring to your strong desires and Mr. Restivo's desires and Mr. Rogers' desires to attempt to do this again, I am willing to support it and consider doing it for a 2-month trial period. If it gets out of hand again,
With all due respect,
like it
Joe.
got out of hand in the past, then I would not wish to support it eternally.
With all due respect, John, that's called 3 votes to put it on. Not respecting the 3 of us' opinion on having on, the 3 of us,
Absolutely.
it's a majority of the council that you don't agree with.
I am, but I'm voting to support it.
I'm still concerned about what the criteria is going to be. Your feelings that something is not manageable versus what I feel is not manageable may be very different. So how do we,
It's gonna be
So it's
discussed
gonna
by
be
the
a
whole
vote of
council,
3 to
isn't it? An agreement by the whole council in 2 months. We discuss it. If we agree it's working, we keep it. If it's not working, then we can vote on it.
Then we're done.
And I see nothing wrong with that. We discussed 2 months of trial before.
4 meetings.
Excuse me, am I not correct, but we don't just get rid of it. To get rid of it, you would have to make a motion to remove concerned citizens, because there's been a motion to already put it on, and it's been approved to be put on. So you can't just remove it in 2 months, because it's already been approved to be put on.
My interpretation of that motion, that was made a few weeks back, 2 meetings back,
That 3 people voted for.
correct, was to put it on the agenda with rules adopted by the council. You paused as a motion to put it on with rules to be adopted by the council. So in front of us this evening are a set of rules produced by Mr. Restivo. I've added a rule saying that these rules will be in effect for a 2-month trial period. We are in compliance with that motion.
It's not a rule, though.
so the concerned or the public comment section will remain on and will tweak these rules?
We'll discuss it in 2 months to see.
Time limit's not
Say
a
that
rule,
again.
is it?
We'll discuss it in 2 months. It's a 2-month trial period. At the end of the trial period, we have to decide, is it working, is it not working? We tweak it, extend it, abolish it, yes, we have to discuss it again.
So, just to clarify,
Well, just to respond to him, let's say we don't put any a 2-month period on it, but it goes on the agenda in 2 months to vote it off. because you don't like it. Why don't you just do that?
I'm more comfortable with the trial period. Actually, I'm more comfortable not having it at all.
I know
I'm
you are.
willing to concede to a 2-month trial
Well,
period.
you're willing to concede the 3 members that voted for it.
If you're not willing
I'm
to
John.
concede to a 2-month trial period, then vote against it.
Mr. Lewis, could we hear from the other people in the audience?
Sure, I will, when
Have further discussion.
I've heard everyone from the council.
Okay.
Mrs. Ryder, I don't know who had their hands up first, but,
You will.
okay, if you have your hand
Go
up
ahead.
first, go
The
ahead.
question I have is in the rules where it was stated that concerned citizens have to sign in at the beginning of the meeting. Does this eliminate what I'm doing right now?
No.
No,
Okay, so anything that comes up during the meeting, we can still comment on?
yes,
Okay.
that's the intent of your,
Yes.
But you see the difference.
we did have that conversation, whether it would preclude it, but these do not.
We can answer you now,
Correct.
concerned citizens. Somebody could stand up there and call anybody anything, we can't say a word.
Can't, you got rules, can't do that.
We can't say-
You got rules, man, you got rules.
If we
And
go
we
by-
have a chair that can gavel down.
That's right, you wrote the rules, I commend both of you. Let's do it for 2 months. What's the argument? If it works for 2 months, it'll stay on the agenda.
Mrs. Ryder?
If there's concern that the 2 months is not a rule, would it be proper to vote on the rules? Or you make an amendment to the motion?
My motion is it's a rule.
It's a rule.
That's
Okay.
my motion. Mr. Sabasi?
Yeah, I'd like to point out, again, concerned citizens in this community, I honestly don't know how it was abused. I think it was more abused by some of the people sitting in this room that support you. But having said that, okay, and the only person who was ever expelled from a council meeting in 30 years, okay? I pointed out to you for 4 years that the signs that were put on state roads at your direction to the highway department endangered the citizens of this community. The attorney said, me coming in here and saying that publicly to you endangered the community. Who endangered the community was you telling a highway director to put signs on a state road without contacting the state engineer in places that weren't posted by the state engineer. So a concerned citizen comes in and says, there's a problem. My vision has been cut in the winter by snow. That gives you some information you didn't have before. I gave you that information for 4 years, and it finally took me talking, actually, Joe Cardillo coming to me and asking me what the problem was and correcting it. So concerned citizens in a community like this, like moving the polling place. In the daytime, it's great. At night, there's no lights on the road. It's a one-lane road when people park on it. The police are in the building, nothing against the police, and you need people on the directing traffic, and a woman falls in a hole because she can't see where she's going. That's a concern from a person in the community to you. That's something that nobody ever thought of when you moved the polling place. And it needs to be fixed immediately versus wait for 4 years. So I don't know what public comment to change from concerned citizens, but public comment in this community is very necessary because of the lack of a town newspaper, the lack of, most people don't even know who's on the council, all right? Most people have no idea what a town hall is. They pay their mortgage through some bank, all right? This is a community of 200 citizens who participate on the boards and stuff. The information comes to them, they give it to you. You can't have somebody like you, and this is, in this regard, you do a good job in most things, who's deciding what should and should not be brought forward, and having the attorney lay it on me that I'm endangering the community when it was you who did it.
think you're making my case for me, Ron.
Thank you.
May I make a comment?
You can.